You know what? I've realized if I'm motivated, I can be good at anything, or I can work really hard at something. I like what I do. I'm really motivated by what I'm trying to do. So I'm really excited by it. And therefore, I put effort into it. So what I'm not good at is stuff that I don't do. I don't do it.
Dyslexic Power at dyslexicpower.org. Interview with Assim Ishaque, founder of Simbrix and Envirup.
I'm an environmentalist by training. I run an environmental consultancy, and I developed an environmental product, if you like, an energy-saving product called Envirup Wall. Now, that's such a big project. We're in our 4th year, and it's quite slow. It's good. It's got a lot of great points about it, and I think it'll be a fantastic project. But in between waiting for all those things to happen, I got distracted, as you do. Left turn Albuquerque, as Bugs Bunny would say. And I created Simbrix, which is a craft and creative product. And it's basically a bead. And this is a big version of it. You can see that there. And here's a small version in black, which doesn't show up very well. And it's really about crafting and creative, but it's going back to simple toys, when toys didn't have batteries, they didn't have instructions, and children were allowed to be creative and free.
Can you tell us a bit about your dyslexia?
I was diagnosed at 21 when I was at university. It would take a lot longer to learn stuff, but I was better at explaining things sometimes than people that had remembered it well. So I could simplify things because I'd gone through more of a process to understand something.
How do you make the most of your dyslexia?
I played to my strength. I realized I was really good at some stuff, and I just worked on doing that really well. And I let other people who are better at other things do that really well.
Can you tell us more about your team?
You know, it's really important to have a good mentor group around you, people who support you and offer you assistance and guidance and just words of wisdom when you need it. I have a little team of really good people. They're better at doing what they do than I am. So they're better at planning and remembering and organizing and calculating and managing complex data.
How have you built your team?
I think it's important to pick the right character of person. I don't really look for experience. I look for motivation. I'm very trusting. So we let people in easily, but we let people go happily as well. And that's important. And Simbrix and Envirup is a place where other people get to learn as well. We take on lots of interns, and we give people opportunity that don't have work experience.
What are the advantages of working for yourself?
If I don't like something, I can change it, and nobody can say, no, you can't, or you can't do it that way. I can do it any way I like. Whereas if you work for somebody else, you have to fix it their way, and their way might not be the natural way for me to fix it. I don't know if it is better, but it's certainly more enjoyable. And that's important, to find stuff you enjoy, because if you enjoy it, then it's not work.
What's your advice for getting started as an entrepreneur?
I think it's really important, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, to go and work for somebody else first, because you're going to learn an awful lot from other people. You know, that's not about dyslexia, that's just about common sense. If you want to learn to do something, learn to do it really well. So you may as well learn from people who are masters at the art that you want to go into. For example, I learned about plastics manufacturing by developing my insulation system, and I learned that from some of the best manufacturers of plastic products in the country. So I was able to understand the steps I need to go through to make this work a whole lot better than if I just did it on my own.
Do you have any advice for succeeding with dyslexia?
So, you know, successful people are successful because they work hard, they take advice, they try crazy ideas, they're not afraid to fail. So, you know, if you're dyslexic, I think you kind of have to put dyslexia aside. You have to say, you know, I am who I am, and not use that as a label, as an excuse. You still have to work hard. The great thing about being dyslexic is I'm going to forget my failures really quick. I'm going to keep on moving quicker, and I'm going to forget about fear faster. Whereas my colleagues with great brains, fantastic memories, amazing memories, they're probably a bit more fearful sometimes about making mistakes.
What have been some of your own failures in the past?
Well, I've been rejected by the best companies in the world. for jobs, from banks to product goods to retailers to manufacturers. And that was really good to be failed by them because I wasn't right for them. So the thing about failure is you have to look at it in the right way. So failure, it's not really a failure. It's an opportunity to get through the door with somebody. And if it didn't work out, you have to see that for the right reasons. I didn't get a job with Ford, for example, because they didn't think I had a flexible attitude. And, that's fine. If they wanted a really flexible, bendy person, it wasn't me. So the lesson for me was it wasn't going to be a good relationship with Ford going forward. So it was good that they rejected me, because at some point it would have been a problem.
How do you learn best?
If you're bored with something, then you're not going to learn anything. But if you're really motivated and excited by something, you learn an awful lot. So I know all about injection molding. I know all about product import and safety testing and all this amazing stuff that I didn't think I'd find interesting ever. But I'm motivated because of what I'm trying to do. So find something you're really excited about that's a stretch for you. And then you learn along the way.
Do you think schools could be improved to better serve dyslexic people?
Yeah, they probably could, but I think things like the way schools are and what government does is like the weather. It's sometimes good and sometimes isn't good. So if it's great, you put the sun cream on, you put sunglasses and you go out there. If it ain't good, you put your raincoat on, your wellies on, you go out there. So if you have a purpose and direction, then that's what should be what leads you forward, rather than schools and government and legislation.
What are your thoughts on young people struggling to learn in school?
A kid that can't sit in class for half an hour with his friend in front of a teacher and is written off, but that same child can sit in front of a screen playing a game that involves him processing lots of information, making lots of instant decisions and judgments, or can concentrate on a work of art by a famous film producer and can be glued to that, can be absolutely concentrated to that for an hour and a half or 2 hours. So where is the problem? Is it the child, or is it or is it just a sense of motivation, or is it the system? Now we can't change the system overnight, so let's forget that. But perhaps the child needs to find the motivation to get excited by something, and if he's excited or she's excited, then they'll be really good at it.
What motivates you?
I've stopped thinking about money as a motivator a while ago because I could earn 3 times more working for somebody else. For me, it's purpose beyond money. I'm trying to solve a problem that for the insulation system, it will help reduce the effects of fuel poverty. It will improve the well-being of people that are disadvantaged. It will create new jobs. For Simbrix, it's a really fun, creative way to play. So this is just about having fun. I created it for my children, not for the world. It just so happens that there are lots of children that have desire and to be creative. So I think if you strive to be amazing at something, create something that is superb, that there will always be people that will want your stuff.
Can you tell us a bit more about your philosophy in business?
I think values are important, being driven by values and purpose and character rather than short-term objectives like making a lot of money today or getting one up over a client today. It's just about realizing that we're here for a certain amount of time and we want to do as much good as we can. So I try and work with people that I really like to work with. I try and work with them in a way that I would like them to work with me in a very transparent, open manner. So if I've made a mistake, I'll tell them that I've made a mistake. And if they've made a mistake, I'd like them to tell me that they've made a mistake and we can resolve it.
What strengths do you think your dyslexia gives you?
Well, I'm creative. I definitely know that. I come up with a huge amount of ideas all the time. And it's a real trial to shut those things off sometimes. And I'm easily distracted, but I have to be ruthless with myself and just focus on a few things sometimes. And if you focus on a few things, you get things done.
What's your key advice for success?
So understand where your successes are where your strengths are. So it's creativity, it's focus, and perseverance. So the thing about dyslexia is to get over it, you have to jump, 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 jump. And eventually you get good at being able to jump over problems. So we had a roadblock recently on one of our projects, and I was looking to other people to come up with the solution because they were the experts around the table. But I realized, you know what? It was me that came up with the idea in the first place. And the idea in the first place was a jump over some of the problems. So it should be me that I should be looking to solve the problem myself. And I did. I solved it really quickly, really simply. And I've also realized I'm good at making things simple. So things don't have to be complicated. Sometimes a simple answer is a simple answer. And you just have the courage. You have to have the courage to say, this is the answer, or put your ideas forward. And I'm very good at putting my ideas forward. And you have to have that confidence to do that. And it's okay to fail. It's all right to fail. And in the US, they like failure. It's just, in fact, if you're looking for funding in the US, they won't want to work with you if you haven't failed a few times already. Whereas here, failure is like a contagious illness. They think if they work with somebody that failed, they'll catch it as well. They think, no way, he'll always fail. It's not the truth. I like to work with people that have failed as well. And if I'm trying to find, for example, we have Ian Livingston working with us on Simbrix, and he's got in and got dirty in his projects. He's got his hands messy, and I like that. When he tells me, ask him, this could be better, he's gone through those processes himself, and I trust that. But when I'm sitting around a table, when I have sat around a table with professional investors that have not done and strove and created themselves, they merely make value judgments. I don't want to work with those people. And I'm happy to say I don't want to work with people who believe they know it all, but not necessarily have done it.
Any final thoughts?
I think fear stops a lot of people from being successful, and I think parents have a big responsibility in not being fearful for their children, not being anxious for their children, because that rubs off on their children. So, if I meet parents of dyslexic children that are anxious for their children, they're anxious that they are not going to be good at something, or they're not going to be amazing at something. Whereas, the kids don't really know anything else. If your brain works in a particular way, that's how it works. So you may as well be enthusiastic and positive rather than anxious and worrisome.